But first, French prosecutors have requested the release from prison of former President Nicolas Sarkozy under judicial supervision. If the court agrees, it will be less than 3 weeks since he began serving a 5-year sentence for criminal conspiracy in a scheme to finance his 2007 election campaign with funds from Libya. Sarkozy was jailed on October 21st pending appeal, but immediately filed for early release. He told the court by video link that life in prison is very hard, while insisting he is innocent. The 70-year-old becoming the first ever former French head of state in modern times to be sent to jail. Delano de Souza takes a look back at the case.
The accusations traced their roots to 2011 when the Libyan news agency and late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi said the Libyan state had secretly funneled millions of euros into Nicolas Sarkozy's successful 2007 presidential campaign. Prosecutors allege that Sarkozy knowingly benefited from what they described as a corruption pact with Gaddafi's government. In exchange for millions in illegal financing, Sarkozy was said to have supported the Libyan leader's public rehabilitation on the world stage. One example was Gaddafi's 5-day visit to Paris in 2007, followed by the signing of multiple contracts. Alongside Sarkozy, 2 suspected intermediaries were also at the heart of the case. Businessman Alexandre Jury and French-Lebanese national Ziad Chekadine, who passed away in September. Chekadine had told investigators he transported 3 suitcases with 5 million euros worth of cash between Libya and Paris.
Yes, Gaddafi paid Sarkozy. Did he pay for his campaign? Did he pay for something else? It is not my problem.
Sarkozy, who lost his re-election bid in 2012, has denied all wrongdoing. The former president says the case against him is a revenge plot cooked up by Gaddafi's clan as payback for France's role in bringing down the government in 2011.
He denies this accusation. It's absurd. We don't even know the amount of this alleged funding. According to those interviewed, we have 5.6, 50 million, 400 million. We don't even know what currency it is.
The case is one of many facing the former French president. Sarkozy has multiple appeals pending in other cases, including one involving his wife over alleged witness tampering.
And joining me now is Paul Smith, a French politics specialist at Nottingham University. Thank you very much again for your time, Paul. Just how significant would Sarkozy's release be, if indeed the court decide as such? Paul Smith from Nottingham University, can you hear me? Because we do appear to be having some technical issues.
I can hear you. I can't hear anything else.
Not a problem. I'm just going to repeat the question again, Paul. If indeed the court does decide as such, how significant would Sarkozy's release be?
Sarkozy's release would be a significant development. It's very likely that it will happen, although Sarkozy's camp are playing that down. They don't want to sound triumphalist. They want this to be a very low-key release, that he's done a certain amount of his time. It's been negotiated, but now that he's coming out, he wants to go out very quietly. He won't be attending. It's certainly not intended that he will attend any ceremonies tomorrow to mark the 11th of November. But it's certainly a significant process.
His lawyers have always argued that Sarkozy did not meet any of the legal justifications for provisional detention and had always abided by the judicial process. So why did the court decide otherwise?
I think that the court's decision was really based on the idea that this was accumulation of an affairs. It shouldn't really be that way. You're judged separately for each offence that you've committed. but there was a sense that this was a very serious offence committed by somebody who's a very high-profile figure. And given the opportunity, the tribunal clearly decided to agree with the prosecutor's office and to make an example, I suppose, to show that nobody is above the law, even a former president of the French Republic.
Yet Sarkozy did receive a visit from the Justice Minister Gérald Darmanin shortly after he was incarcerated, and this despite warnings from the top prosecutor in France that it risked undermining the independence of magistrates before the appeals trial. Is this another sign of the political implications of this trial?
Yes, I think so. I mean, there's always, because of the way the French system functions, there's always an over-involvement. If you come from a British background, for example, you look at the way in which these things play out. It's very different to the British system, whereas in the French system, there's much more of a kind of crossover, and particularly someone like Darmanin, who also, of course, has always seen himself as being something of a Sarkozy disciple in the early days, certainly. And I think it does become very complicated when people look at that kind of visit to somebody in detention. Then it becomes a little bit complicated to exactly understand what's going on. I don't think it does anybody. Certainly, I don't think it does someone like Darmanin any good. However, Darmanin, if he's planning a run for the presidency, not in 2027, but 2032, would want to be signalling something to the old school Sarkozy supporters. So there's a political dimension there as well. But again, that goes back to your original question. This sort of crossover between justice and politics is a very complicated affair in France.
What about public opinion in this country? Does the population want to see Sarkozy walk away as a free man?
I think that there's a general feeling that not that necessarily the punishment was excessive, that he probably deserved to go to prison, but there's an awful lot of comments. I suppose it depends where you get your comments from. That it's enough. That where's he going to go? He's not going to try and escape. To flee the country. So probably the experience, and he himself has talked about how difficult the experience is. Well, he's a former interior minister, so he should know all about what prisons look like, at least from the outside, but how difficult that experience has been, not just for him as an individual, but understanding what it is to actually lose your liberty. So I think that public opinion generally in France seems to feel that, okay, he's done part of it. He's not full 5 years by any means, but he's done part of the sentence, and there is very low risk. We have to think about that, and so he should be probably released. But of course, there are all kinds of other things. This isn't the end of the sentence. It's a kind of it's morphing into something else.
And he does have other legal trials pending, doesn't he?
Yes, everything is not over quite yet for Nicolas Sarkozy, and again, this comes back to the difficulty it seems for many French politicians, not just Nicolas Sarkozy, to keep their metaphorical noses clean. That there seem to be lots of things going on in their lives that become very complicated. So it's not quite the end of his time up for the judges to explain himself.
Paul Smith from Nottingham University. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.